Laughing Vikings Live. High vibe chats with actors, comedians, and creators, plus stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and most importantly, you. That's right, join us every Monday for new episodes, and you can be a part of the show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Ask questions and interact in the comments, and make sure to share this with your actor, comedian, and creator friends so they can be a part of the show too. Can't make a live show? No problem. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform and visit laughingvikings.com to find out how you can join the cast and crew. All right, it's time for today's show. Buckle up and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special surprise for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Laughing Vikings Live. Happy Monday Fun Day. Let's go. Hey. Hello, international heroes. We are here at day 2 of Audition Hero. We had a fantastic day 1. I don't know about all of you guys, but I was fired up last Thursdays. I was pumped. It was so amazing. We had people from all over the world. We had people in the United States, Canada, Portugal, Mexico, the UK, Lebanon. We were just covering all our bases. I was so inspired. I was so motivated by all of you. Literally, I was like buzzing all weekend. I was vibrating all weekend. That was one of my all-time favorite life experiences, getting to be with all of you from around the world. I got to cry quite a bit last week, which was great. It was an emotional release. It's being in those acting classes, in these conservatory classes. They just crack you open, and I have full access to my tears and my emotions. Hello, Victoria. Hello from Calgary. Ilya, hello from Lebanon. Great to see you as well. Make sure to pop off in the comments. Again, today we're going to be very interactive. We're going to be interacting with you in the comments. We're going to be answering some questions, asking what your questions and struggles are again. We've got a ton of content to plan. So say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're from. Hello. We should recap a little bit. I'm Lars. I am an actor. If you're wondering right now, Joseph Simon says the buzzing thing is the new hairstyle. Oh, Lance. Lance is my twin brother. I'm Lars. Lance is my twin brother. Lance Solo. Lars, yes, he corrected it there. I'm Lars, of course. I'm the founder of Laughing Vikings and Actors Audition Club. And again, I talked about this in day 1. But for those of you who are just tuning in, some of you may not have caught the full live broadcast in day 1. So I want to remind you and give you some idea on why the heck you should be listening to me. And I think that's something that you always need to ask yourself. Anytime you're getting any information, you want to be like, well, who the hell is this guy? What kind of information does he know? What kind of experience does he have? And overall, why should I listen to anything this guy has to say? So in a nutshell, I'll review it. We won't go as deep. But I've been a stand-up comedian and an actor since 2009. Started in the stand-up world, moved into improv, which led to sketch comedy, dinner theater, then doing background and student films. Then that led to commercials, TV film roles. I've been a lead on a series where I was ensemble lead doing 20 episodes of a sketch comedy show called Almost Genius on CMT Canada here in Canada. I did a full episode where I was lead on Fear Thy Neighbor, which is a docudrama true crime series. I had an opportunity. One of the most amazing opportunities of my life was being on the set of the epic series C, where I had to do a scene with Jason Momoa, and we were toe-to-toe and face-to-face pre-COVID before the world shut down. That was an incredible experience. And on top of all that acting experience, in 2017, I started Laughing Vikings. We leased the studio space here in Toronto, and we've helped actors. What we actually do is we help actors rehearse and record professional auditions without tech troubles or without having to bug family and friends so that you can book more roles in TV, film, and theater. And we've been doing that for 4 years. So in addition to my own personal experience as an actor and as an auditioner, I've helped hundreds of actors and thousands of auditions. Just in the last year alone, we helped run almost 700 auditions here at the studio, which gives us a really unique perspective from a casting point of view, sort of behind the scenes. We've seen actors very much so succeed at the audition process, booking lead roles in TV and film series and theater projects. And it gives us a behind the camera look at what's working for actors and what isn't. We have a very unique perspective on the casting process itself, how technically it works, what the casting directors and production need to see, how they want the files formatted, sort of all the industry standards and industry norms. So for those reasons, having now 12 years as an actor and performer myself, plus 4 years where I've been intimately involved in helping other actors book roles in TV and film. That's why we have a unique perspective, and that's why we decided to do this Audition Hero series. Adam Daniel Mazet says, so happy to be here. He made it. Yes, pop off in the comments. Let us know what city you're in. All throughout the broadcast today, we are going to be interacting with you. So love seeing your comments. So reminder, if I get blurry at any point, that is not a camera problem. That is my superhero power. They call me the blur. I vibrate really quickly so that I can escape situations and I don't show up on television. So if crimes are either committed or thwarted, they're like, who is that man? Oh, he was a blur. I can't see him. It's me, Lars, the blur. So who is Audition Hero for? If you are an actor that is struggling with self-submit auditions and you're looking to up-level your audition game, including your home studio, including your audition community of people that you're working with, including your actual audition system, then this workshop is for you. And regardless of experience level, if you're just starting out and you're getting into the audition world, no better spot to start. But even if you've had a 20, 30-year career and you're looking to level up and you're looking to make that breakthrough from maybe day players or supporting into leads, I'm also in that category too, where I'm constantly trying to up-level things. So no matter where you're at in your career, this Audition Hero workshop is to help you focus on auditionings, because let's face it, in the beginning, until you're an A-lister and until people are throwing you offers, or until your price is so high that you're refusing offers, we get jobs by auditioning. That's the reality of our lives as actors. So I want all of you to think of your job. You can think of yourself as a professional actor, which our coach Tom Todoroff often says actors are professional human beings. But really, in the beginning, your job as an actor is to be a professional auditioner, or a professional or an audition professional, if you want to put it that way. So all of your focus really should be on auditioning early on, after you've learned the craft. We'll talk about classes and learning the craft. You certainly don't want to be auditioning before you're ready, because this is a craft and there's a professional way to do things. Joseph Simon is saying, is it online? If you're speaking of day one, yes, day one, the whole broadcast, you can find it in the Audition Hero group, or make sure, if you haven't done it yet, register at, Brandon, if you can bring it up, register at laughingvikings.com/audition hero. You may be watching this on Facebook or on YouTube. If you haven't formally registered for Audition Hero, do so either now or later tonight at laughingvikings.com/audition hero. This is going to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the follow-up information, any of our follow-up emails. It's also going to make you eligible for all the contests and challenges and prizes that we put out there. And it's going to give you access to the private Audition Hero community, where you're going to get to meet and collaborate with actors and other audition heroes all across the globe. So make sure, no matter where you are registering, or no matter where you're watching from, that you have registered. Day one recap. We talked a little bit about it. In day one, we mainly talked about mindset. We talked about the idea of finding that audition hero mindset. We talked about the hero journey, and we all have the opportunity to be heroes. What is a hero? It's someone who is faced with a challenging situation. At the beginning, they don't have the skills or the character to deal with it, and then they go figure it out, either by getting help or by developing new skills or finding new information. Then they're able to overcome those challenges and become the hero, and then help everyone else in their community as that hero. So we talked about that hero's journey. We also shared dream roles. We shared struggles and challenges. And as part of that, we issued our day one challenge. So your day one challenge, for those of you who remember, was to go into the group right after the live session and to leave a video talking about the struggles and the mindset that you have currently about auditions and about your acting goals and what's holding you back. And I asked you, if you continue to listen to those stories, what is that going to lead to in your life? And then I asked you, if you change that thinking and then you change yourself into the hero mindset, the idea of stepping up as the hero in your own life, because this isn't just, it's not just on camera stuff. When I'm talking about audition hero, yeah, on camera and in your career, but all of us, before you're going to be a hero on screen, you need to get to the level where you're a hero in your own life and not a bit player. Too many of us, we're playing background roles in our own life, and we're bit players in our own life, and we're asking for permission, and we're not fighting for what we want, and we're letting fear dictate our actions instead of deciding what you want and going to fight for that. So it's all about stepping up into that hero mentality and hero journey in your own life so that then you can become that in your career. But we went into the challenge. Ilya, he's saying right now, Ilya Gazal, I loved his video, and I want to say thank you so much to everyone who submitted. We're actually going to share Ilya's video, and congratulations, Ilya. You are one of the winners of the day one contest. So here's Ilya, and this is what he said.
Lars asked to speak about our struggles in acting and what will our life be when we live with those struggles, and what will our life be without those struggles. So I'm gonna start saying what I'm struggling with, and it's my belief. I don't really have a lot of faith in myself, and that's a big problem in me, but I'm working on that. And one of my struggles is where I live in. I live in a Middle Eastern country, and its mother language is Arabic, and I love English, and I would love to act somewhere in like LA or United Kingdom, anywhere European or English country, because I love speaking English. And I also struggle with I don't know how to begin with acting. Like, I don't have a guidebook or someone to guide me where to start and what mistakes I'm doing in acting and how I can change myself to the better. And I imagine my life, if I continue living with those struggles, as staying where I am, not doing anything, like still living my normal life, not getting out of my comfort zone. And that's a big problem. And I don't want to live like this. I want to explore the acting community. I want to live every single moment of my life, because you never know when everything will go down. And I imagine my life without those struggles when I overcome them and meet someone wise to guide me. And that's from the hero story that Lars showed us. I imagine that, not imagine, I will meet someone wise, and I'm pretty sure I will go either using the internet, I will somehow meet an agent to lead me to the right path, because I really think acting is my passion. And I loved acting since I was a child, so it's been there for a long time in me. So I imagine my life full of success. Not imagine, I will be successful when I overcome those struggles with your help, of course, and of course I will help you too. And I imagine like a life full of success and me happy. That the most important thing is your mental health. So if you're not happy doing something you like, then it's not something for you. So I imagine myself happy. I can describe the feeling of me being in a set full of actors and acting. That's my dream job. Not my dream job, my dream, my whole dream. And if I someday accomplish that, I don't know, short series, a movie, TV series, me in a set, that's my dream. That's my whole dream. Like, if I overcome those struggles, I will be in my dream life, which I will soon. And I hope everyone who joined the competition will overcome all those struggles and live a happy life, and especially accomplish everything they wanted. And I think that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. And I hope you have an amazing day. Like me, I'm having an amazing, extraordinary day, especially like a white day because it's snowing outside. I can't tell if you can see. It's snowing so much, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna go and enjoy the snow. And I hope you all have a nice day or night, whatever time zone it is. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I can't thank you enough. I love you.
Yes. One more time, pop off in the comments. Congratulations to Ilya Gazal from Lebanon. You're the winner. We're going to hook you up with a Zoom audition session where you can connect Ilya with one of our audition session directors. And we'll spend, it's typically about an hour, 45 minutes on camera, and then 15 minutes editing, where we'll pick some audition material. Maybe you want to do a monologue, maybe you have a scene, and we'll work it with you, and we'll run an audition session, even if it's just a mock audition, to get you into the feel of what an audition session works. Brandon, are you giving me some? I don't know what you're saying, Brandon. Pop in.
Screen. Look at the screen.
Oh, you're telling me it's his birthday? Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Is it your birthday today, Ilya? Today's your birthday, Ilya? This day? Right now? That's crazy. Happy birthday. So anyways, you're going to win a Zoom audition session. Ilya, make sure to connect with me in the group, and we'll send you a link for that. Pippa Winslow says, let me read this. Ilya Gazal says, I'm speechless. I'm so happy, but I just want to say I watched everyone's video in the community. I want to say I loved all your videos, and you will achieve all your dreams. Yeah, we all love you, Ilya. I think everyone here in North America and everyone in this community who's seen your video now as a young 17-year-old who English isn't even your first language, and you're in a country that isn't known as a film and TV place, everyone is rooting for you, and everyone fell in love with you in that video. So congratulations. I believe in you too. And you're in the right place. You talked about not knowing whether to start sometimes, or knowing how to start. Sometimes it's not about knowing exactly how. You just got to start. And what's Pippa say here? Bring Pippa's up. Pippa says, Ilya, your mindset is so powerful. Yes. Victoria says, happy birthday, Ilya. It's next week on February 7th. Okay, this is an early birthday present. Congrats. And I want to bring up one more here. She wasn't able to post a video. We had some technical difficulties. But Victoria, where's Victoria? Victoria Betiu. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but she's in Calgary, and she wrote me a really heartfelt text the next day, and I want to just share that. And so I'm giving a bonus winner here. So Ilya wins, and then Victoria, you're going to win a Zoom session as well. And I just want to share some of this because I think it's very pertinent to a lot of people. Victoria says, I knew early on that I wanted to act, and I originally was in acting classes. I had an agent. I went to showcases. I even had an opportunity to move to LA, but I was young and life got in the way. My family's never been financially well off. My mom's always had to work multiple jobs to support us. And all I've ever wanted to do is give her the life she deserved. So I put acting on the side. I've been pursuing a degree in the medical related field. But during COVID, it hit me how unhappy I am. How life, which is so short, seemed long and simply unhappy. How there was no tangible career path for me to that I would genuinely love and be passionate about and wake up every day excited for. It would just be a long, unhappy desk job that was deeply fulfilling, but to pay the bills. I've been there, Victoria. I know exactly what you're talking about. When I was in financial services, I was like, what am I doing? I'm making great money, but I'm not excited to get out. And I was cursing my alarm, and I was living only for the weekends. And I drank and partied way too much as an escape because I didn't like my regular 9-to-5 life. So I acted out at night by becoming a crazy party animal at night until I found acting. And then she continues, I've only recently decided that I don't want to live with regrets. And I'm wondering what life might have been. I want to live in my own dream, even if it turns out to be a nightmare and I crash and burn. You won't crash and burn. There's people who can catch you because that's a very real possibility. But it also meant that I'd be starting at 23 with no recent acting classes and no credentials, no recent credits, no agent, no support, no university degree. I'm not going to lie. I spent a week experiencing the worst anxiety of my life, determining that nothing was in my grasp but a long, unhappy life of watching others live out their passions. It was terrifying, paralyzing, and obviously not productive. But watching this first video, day one of Audition Hero, is the first time I've honestly been able to look up and see this as something manageable, or more than that, viable. You've given me a starting point. Thank you so much for providing this. Otherwise, I'd be still hiding under the covers, contemplating the meaning of life and all the happiness and all the ways it's going to elude me. I just want to give the mother the life she's always gave that she gave me, but I also want more than anything to live without any regrets. So thank you, Victoria, for sharing that. I shared my brother's story of a guy who was living his dreams and at age 33 got sick and passed away from cancer. And none of us want to be in a situation where you're on your deathbed living in any of those regrets. And I also just found it, believe it or not, I'm 44 years old. I'm getting up there. I didn't start till I was 31 years old. So for me to be getting a message from someone who's 23 where I'm like, oh my God, what I would pay. Like if I had $1 million to pay you for those 21 years and I could get them back and have my own mindset, but have those extra 20 years, Victoria, I would switch shoes with you in a heartbeat. Although I also believe everything happens for a reason, but literally it's so funny. The idea of, oh, I'm too late. You're not too late. Things happen when they happen for a reason. And the fact that you didn't do something in the past has no bearing on the future. And the past is gone too. The past doesn't even exist anymore. You only have now, and you have the future. So fuck the past, forget about the past, maybe take some lessons that you have from the past with you, but do not let any kind of past story let you slow you down. And if I shared that post in the Audition Hero group, there is a list of A-listers so long of people who started late in their 40s, 50s, 60s. So like you could literally do nothing for the next 30 years of your life and then start and still have an illustrious career. Compared to me, you could do nothing, Victoria. You could just do 0 things related to acting for the next 7 years of your life and then get started, and you'll still be ahead of the game compared to where I was in your age. So yeah, never let the past hold you back. So those are our 2 winners. Oh, there's the blur. Where did I go? Oh, look at me, the blur. I don't know what's going on with this camera. I'm going to step away 1 sec. Stand by 1 second. Man, I'm so blurry. Look at this. I'm moving so quickly. 1 sec. There we go. He's back, everyone. He's back. Yeah. Trying to figure out if I'm more handsome when I'm blurry or when I'm not. Now, we also talked about our Audition Hero finalists in day 1. We announced that Jareen Ignatius, Shaquille James Hostins, and Adam Daniel Mazet are our Actors Audition Club Audition Hero Contest finalists. So all of our current members of Actors Audition Club here at Laughing Vikings, we put out a call to them to share a video and to talk about their experience and their journey as an actor and their experience with Laughing Vikings and Actors Audition Club. And we narrowed that down to 3 finalists. We're going to announce those finalists, or we're going to announce the winners at day 3. There's a huge prize package, including an annual membership to Actors Audition Club and a 10-pack of audition sessions and an Audition Hero t-shirt. Swag. You get some swag. But I wanted to share some of those videos with you today so that some of you can see them. So Brandon, can we cue up Jareen's audition hero submission?
Hello, this is Joreen Ignatius, and this is my story of inspiration. So prior to working as an actor full-time here at home in Canada, I was working as an actor outside the country. After the pandemic broke out, I came back home and I was anxiety stricken. There was a lot of worries about the future. I mean, the entire world was stuck at one point, right? I wasn't alone. So after being low-key for some time, I decided two things mainly. One, I wanted to stay back home and work as an actor full-time, not leaving the country anymore. Second, I wanted to start working on my craft, really put myself through training, start learning as much as I can. Because as a learner, or when you're learning, there's not much commitment, right? You know, people are not going to judge you. So that put me at ease a bit. And I was going crazy at that. I was taking classes from various parts of the world. I was working on my voice. I was working on my body. I was doing dialect work. English is my second language. So I had to do some accent reduction work. And I started training myself in general American dialect as well. Till this day, I continue all this. After a year, I started applying for the agencies and I got represented by Premier Artists Management. Yay! So now my second phase of acting career started with auditioning. Real professional auditioning. I didn't want to mess up my audition, right? I need to make a good impression among the casting directors. I really have to give my 100% in every audition that I do, regardless of whether I book them or not. That's when I started collaborating with Laughing Vikings. Seriously, I don't know what would I have done without them. It's like the universe knows exactly what I needed in every part of my life. It was such a pleasure working with them. The one thing I like the most about Laughing Vikings is that they treat my audition as if their own audition. Whoever is helping me would treat my audition as his or her own audition. There's a lot of commitment. There's a lot of details they put in. There's a lot of care in providing that help. It didn't feel like that I was getting a service from someone. It was more like with your buddies, you're brainstorming your ideas and they're helping you. That's kind of a feel I get every time I audition with Laughing Vikings. They were part of my success this far. They were there with me from day one, and I'm sure they'll continue to be with me going forward. I really want to express my gratitude towards their support. It's like a community, and we do need this community. Once again, thank you so much.
Jareen Ignatius. Pop off in the comments for Jareen. Isn't she amazing? She's adorable. We love her so much. A couple things about Jareen I just want you to take note of. Notice that when she said she decided that she wanted to pursue acting and really take it serious, the first thing she started was training. Don't think that it's just a matter of saying words. This is a craft. This is a profession. People at the top level have spent years and years and years developing that craft. So the first thing you should always be looking at is training, classes. How can you develop and learn the craft? And for those of you on the call, many of us have been members and taken classes with Tom Todoroff's studio based in New York, which is now international via the Zoom Saturday workshops, or myself, I'm in conservatory. And I can't stress this enough. It is a profession and you need to take it serious. And you can do yourself, although we're talking about auditions here, if you try to put yourself, I'm going to use the word try here, if you're trying to audition before you have the craft and you have a true understanding of what your job is as an actor and how to be a professional storyteller, you're most likely putting the cart before the horse, and you may be doing damage to your career by putting yourself in front of casting directors and or agents before you are a professional. So really invest. We're not going to get the scope of this workshop isn't deep enough for us to go into all the craft of breaking down a script and how to actually put together a winning performance. We'll touch on some of that, but the best advice I can give you is find good coaches, find good classes, Tom Todoroff's is amazing place to start. In the Audition Hero group, I posted it the other day. We'll list a link to do a free workshop. His Saturday workshops are voice and speech classes, script analysis, and scene study featuring cold reads, monologues, scenes, and audition materials. And I've been studying with Tom for the last 7 years of my life through intensives, through a New York intensive, now via Zoom and conservatory. And it's been a game changer, absolutely life transformation. And I almost feel like I didn't know what I was doing at all before I took these classes. I had a level of success before I took these classes, maybe based on a little bit of natural something, but you need to train. The other thing that Doreen is amazing about is she's so positive. She's always willing to learn. Anytime we would give her a suggestion on those sessions, which, by the way, we've never met Doreen in person. She does all of her sessions via Zoom, which is the brilliance of the world we live in. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can be a part of this community. You can be a part of the Audition Hero community and Actors Audition Club, and you can connect with mentors and coaches all over the world. So don't think that you're limited by geography anymore. Ilya, 20 years ago, you might have been in a little predicament. Without the internet, you would have been sort of stuck in your own local market, but now the world is your oyster. It's truly a global community. So we love you. We love you. We love you, Doreen. Joao's in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Portugal. Yes. Bono noite. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not. I'm definitely not saying it right. Now, we want to share another one. Up next, we're going to show you the second finalist. This is Shaquille James Hostin, who just booked a network series show here in Canada on CBC, Murdoch Mysteries. We're so proud of him. He did an amazing job in the episode, and you can see it either on CBC or on the CBC Gem app. And you can see him with several famous, iconic Canadian actors. So congratulations to Shaquille, but let's roll his Audition Hero clip.
What's happening, everybody? My name's Shaquille James Hostin. I'm not very good at telling stories, so bear with me. Here we go. I've been in the pursuit of acting for a long time now, but I fell in love with the business a little while before that. You see, I was somebody who was never really anybody's favorite cup of tea. I'm still not to this day. But you want to know what? That's fine. Because a long time ago, I decided that I was going to put all my effort, all my strength, and everything that I believe in into this business, into this crazy business known as acting. I just have a passion for taking stories, for taking words on a page and giving them life, bringing you quality content and entertainment each and every time. Because if you're not enthralled, if you are not inspired to get up and do something after you watch a performance, especially after you watch me, then I haven't done my job right. So here I am, and this is my story. I stumbled upon the Laughing Vikings back in 2019, always passing them when I was on the streetcar. I was always like, what does this sign mean? What is Laughing Vikings? It probably is something acting related. So I went to Google because that's what Google's for. And lo and behold, my questions were answered. I've been doing self-tapes there ever since. And I must say, I have not been disappointed, not one time. Lars, Brandon, heck, even Luna, they all care. And they want you to bring your best effort each and every time you are there. It's just a great atmosphere. Every time you walk in, it's hello, how are you, how have you been, let's rock this. We know what we're doing today. And I greatly appreciate that. Because after all, energy is everything, and your thoughts are things. So when you walk into somewhere with a good mindset, when you walk into somewhere with good, energetic, and enthralled people, you know that you are going to do a great job each and every time. So for that, I say thank you to everybody at the Laughing Vikings. And to everybody out there who's also pursuing this crazy dream, believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Because I've been at this thing for a long time. And after all this time, hey, it's finally starting to show for me. So, keep going. because the world needs you. I believe in you, so why can't you believe in you? Think about that. All right, everybody. Stay well, stay blessed, stay safe. Don't stop believing. Peace.
Boom. Mic drop. Shaquille James Hostens. Love it. And he just proved that old school marketing works. He saw a street sign in front of our studio. So we're still kicking it old school. Not everything happens online. We connect with Ilya in Lebanon, but we connect with people here locally in Toronto and in any other our future cities where we have studios with good old street signs. Ilya says his body language is absolutely mesmerizing. His hand gestures made me focus more on the story and even be more curious about it. I love the way he described that acting is making scripts come alive. He's amazing. He is amazing. And he's also a professional wrestler as well. His wrestling persona is Darius King. Brandon and I got to see him in a Halloween zombie wrestling extravaganza, and it was amazing. So congrats to you. Shaquille also mentioned Luna, our studio pug here. Say hello to, this is our studio security guard here at Laughing Vikings. She also, she's my agent sometimes as well. Sometimes she's my lawyer. Sometimes she's my therapist. But this is Luna. So for any of you who ever have the opportunity to see us here in person or even connecting via Zoom, you'll often see Luna kicking around in the background. And she's quite the little actor herself. She's been in a few short films and in a ton of Instagram reels with me. So stay tuned for Luna, the Wonder Pug. She's going to be soon having her Hollywood debut. So here it is. Yes, Pippa says, I'm in love. Victoria says, the cutest. Should I just let Luna run the rest of the workshop? Maybe? Luna, you want to run the show? There you go. Give me a kiss. Love kiss. Aww. Aww. All right. Elia says, sending her a hug virtually. Camille says, hello, Luna. Hello, hello, hello. Amazing. Yeah, I loved what Shaquille said in his video. All of those videos were great. And we want to share one more. Our third finalist, this was Adam Daniel Mazet. And he also works with us here out of our Toronto studio. We've known him for a couple years. So cue that video.
Hey Vikings, Lars, BK Broiler, and the rest of the Vikings coaches. I'm Adam Daniel Mazet. I've been coming to the Vikings Audition Club for the last going on 3 years. It's been tough during the COVID era, although I've probably made some of my best progress during these sort of unusual times. I also want to dedicate this small hosanna, this grab ass, to my father, Peter Mazet, who passed away on New Year's Day, January the 1st, 2022, who himself was a very cinematic individual. My dad was in retail for like 50 years. I used to watch him go into characters and put on accents and stuff like that when he was dealing with his clientele, which is, I suppose, where I get some of my shenanigans and my antics and my ability to do accents and things from. Henry Marsh, who was an American sprinter, wrote this book called The Breakthrough Factor, which I read back in my university days in McGill in Montreal. And he talks about this idea of incremental improvement, which means that, you know, if he would have 2 heats, if he would finish at a better time in the subsequent heat than in the previous heat, even if he didn't win the race, he was making improvement. And eventually he competed in 76, 84, and 88 in Montreal, Los Angeles, and Seoul. And he ended up winning a lot of gold medals based off of that approach. I'd have to say that's the kind of approach that I take when I work at the Laughing Vikings. Every time I go into an audition session, I always want to do better than the previous time. I want to get as perfect as possible, if I can use that word. I mean, obviously, failure is a great part of getting better as an actor and in honing your craft. But I just love getting in there, stepping into the box, having that at bat, and just kind of like doing the absolute best that I can, leaving everything that I can at the studio. I love coming into the studio. Even though I can do a lot of these things at my place here, I just love that camaraderie. I love that coaching. Brendan and Lars, who I do a lot of tapes with, they always know the right thing to say, and they couch it in the right language, and they give it a framework, and they give it terminology so that it can kind of anchor itself in your brain. They really make you feel like you're doing your best work. They really make you feel like this is the job that you can get. And they really want to see the success of all the actors that walk in through those doors. It's not just about taking your money and running, so to speak. It's about actually seeing you book big gigs and jobs and getting better and getting a recurring role. I mean, Laughing Vikings will be the place there where I get my recurring role. It is going to happen within those doors on Queen Street East. It is going to happen there, and I can't wait for that to happen. That is going to happen this year in 2022. I vowed to do it this year. Thanks, Lars Broiler, for always being in my corner, especially during these very difficult times in my life. I can't wait to do more audition sessions. I was even going to come in today when I'm recording this, but unfortunately I had some other plans. And thank you so much for being who you guys are.
Adam Daniel Mazzei, pop off in the comments. Congrats on being a finalist. Isn't he just so suave? Who was that? Was that a young Robert De Niro that we were looking at? He often reminds me as well as the actor from Walking Dead who plays Negan. I feel like he looks a lot like him. And I want to shout out Adam. He mentioned briefly in the video, he lost his father on it was New Year's Day. So very, very fresh. Our heartfelt condolences to you and your family. Just a devastating thing. And I know that it happened very quickly. They got bad news. I'll take this moment especially to say, fuck cancer. That's my little PSA. Fuck cancer, fuck cancer, fuck cancer. But I just want to applaud you and really recognize you and just say that, like, it's such a devastating thing to lose anyone, but the fact that you lost your father and then you still have the drive and the determination to be continuing with your acting career, that kind of thing could have knocked you. It would have been perfectly understandable if that knocked you on your ass for 6 months or a year and your head was spinning. But in order to honor yourself and honor him, I feel like you've just, if anything, you've doubled and tripled down on your determination, and you're seem very determined to honor his legacy by building your own legacy in TV film. And something special I want to share about Adam as well is he books audition sessions with us here in the studio when he gets auditions from his agent, but he also just books sessions when he doesn't have an audition because he wants to stay sharp. He'll come in here with sides from a movie or from a television show, and he'll work them just to stay sharp. He'll come in and do improv sessions with Brandon because he knows that acting is a muscle. It's vocal, it's physical, it's emotional. So the more you're using your instrument, the sharper you're going to be when that massive opportunity comes. So shout out to you, Adam, for being so dedicated. And again, our condolences to the loss of your father recently as well. Now, we're going to announce the grand prize winner of the Audition Hero 2022 on Thursday in day 3. But right now, we need to get down to business right now. It is time for the core training today. Day 2 is all about Audition Hero system. In your auditions, from the time you get an audition from your agent to the time that you record it and submit it and wash your hands of it, you need to have a system. And like everything in life, the more things you have systematized and organized, the better it's going to be, so that when something happens, you can really just press play. And it's like a pilot going through a flight sequence or a landing sequence, or surgeons go through checklists. It's about not leaving things up to chance. If you leave things up to chance and just how you're feeling that day and your schedule and your energy and just not following an actual process, you're going to leave a lot on the table with your auditions. You want to get to the point where you're doing pretty much the exact same things every time. You have a process, you have a system, so that you can be confident every audition that you submit is your best. And like a pilot or like a surgeon, you've checked all those boxes so that when you do press submit and send that to your agent and to casting, you know you've done everything that you could possibly do and you haven't left anything on the table. Because remember, every one of these opportunities that you get, especially when you get into the professional realm of union jobs, these are 4-figure, 5-figure, 6-figure, potentially 7-figure opportunities. Every one of these opportunities could be a life changer. And a lot of the times the imposter syndrome in us, or the self-sabotager in us, or the fear of success in us can manifest as not doing everything that we can do in our control to put forth a stellar audition. So we're going to talk today about something that we're calling our audition hero system. But before we get into that, I got to make sure your mind is right. So we're going to talk about some mental blocks and some thinking that might be sabotaging you. But I want you to pop off in the comments. And what I want you to tell me is any thoughts or obstacles or objections or any reasons why you feel right now you were not able to submit your best auditions. I want to hear struggles and or objections, issues, roadblocks that you feel are preventing you from being your best as an actor and preventing you from every time you submit from having that feeling of this was my opus, this was my masterpiece, that is the best out of all my career training and all my classes. What I just put on tape is the best of who I am right now. So pop off in the comments throughout this, but I want to start with a few. And so these, I'm going to call these, we're going to do some myth busting right here. Now, I don't know if we're able to say myth busters because it's a real show. So I will say myth boosters, or I can say myth, pause, beat, busters. That'll avoid the lawyers. So we're going to myth bust and we're going to mooth beist. These are some common actor myths, actor thoughts that I want to smash for you, because if you're thinking these thoughts that I'm about to share, and then we'll get into some of these comments, so flag some of these, Brandon, right here, and we'll come back to them. But these thoughts and or myths, if these are still in your head, the ones I'm going to talk about, they are preventing you from getting into that hero mindset, and they're preventing you from putting forth your best foot to casting. So myth number one in the audition and acting world is that my career as an actor is a solo journey. A lot of people make that massive mistake. I made it early on, being a stand-up comedian and as an actor. The reality is, when you're not in a cast on set or you're not in a theater production, it can feel lonely. It can feel like this is a lone wolf type scenario. But you have to realize that you're not in it alone. And if you remain in it alone, it's hurting you. So that's why congratulations to everyone of you who is here, everyone who is a part of a class, everyone who's part of Todoroff Conservatory, is you've surrounded yourself by other excellent people. And you've heard the term, you're going to be the average of the 5 people around you. That's very, very true in all avenues of life. And you've probably heard the term, you can't soar with the eagles if you scratch with the chickens or scratch with the turkeys. So if you're surrounded by a bunch of chickens and turkeys, you're not going to be one of those eagles. But the second you surround yourself by people who are ideally further along and better than you and who are uplifting and positive, it's going to lift you up as well. So please, if any part of you has that mentality that no one understands me, or I'm in this for myself and I can't, like, I have to do everything on my own, you're not. And I think we've proven this today, that we've connected with people in Calgary and Mexico and Portugal and Lebanon, in the UK, in Canada, and that's a massive opportunity. So please, please, please remember that you are not in this alone. The longer you continue to think that you are solo in this, the longer you're going to struggle, and it sucks to think that way. So just surround yourself with community. Everything great that anyone has ever done, it's happened with a team. Think about an Olympian. You see them on the podium and you see them on competition day, but they have a nutritionist, they have a physiotherapist, they have a chiropractor, they have a publicist, they have a sports psychologist, they have all of these trainers, they have someone booking their travel, they have someone ordering all their food, they have just a myriad of teammates, so that, yeah, they end up on the mountain and at the top, but it's because they surrounded themselves with this community. So myth number one, smash that. You are not alone. This is not a solo journey. All right. Myth number two is your training as an actor has a completion date. Your training as an actor and as a human being never ends. From the day you're born to the day you die, you need to be learning, you need to be growing, you need to be improving and changing. So no matter what you've done, if you've taken a few workshops or you've taken conservatory, it doesn't matter. There's no end. There's never going to be a day where you can say, yeah, oh yeah, I learned it all. Now I just need to sit back, relax, and that's it. I'm done. And if you do that, you'll also find that all of a sudden you're not that happy and you're not that fulfilled, because a big part of having a fulfilling life as a human being is growing and changing. I think growing and changing is really the main sign of life, whether you're a human or a plant or an amoeba or a bacteria or a virus. I don't know if viruses are alive. Are they alive? Somebody fact check this stuff. I'm no scientist, and but I occasionally play one on television. But what I'm saying here is your training never ends. So you need to be constantly growing, constantly improving. Just be ferocious and voracious with your learning. Seek out coaches, seek out mentors. That can be workshops online like this, that can be in-person classes. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be acting. You take a class in horse riding, take a class in fencing, take a class in a language, take a class in a dialect, take stage combat. There's a million things that you could be learning and getting extra coaching and mentoring on. And Victoria says, yes, viruses are living things. Okay, thank you. Yes, you said you were in the medical field, so thank you. So that's myth number 2, is that there's a completion date. There's never a completion date. Doesn't matter. And if there is, you're going to start, you're either going forward or you're going backwards. There's no middle. You're never just kind of the status quo. You're either moving forward and learning and growing, or you're falling behind and deteriorating. It's like the universal thing of everything degrades to chaos eventually. We put things together with order and then it all falls apart. So you got to wake up every day and build yourself up and train yourself and put yourself together. Otherwise, you're just going to eventually entirely fall apart again. So myth number 3 is my acting success is all who I know. This is one of the worst myths you could possibly believe. Do not believe this. And a lot of these are stories. You got to think, if you're telling yourself a story, so your internal thoughts, really monitor your thoughts. Yeah, thoughts are things, but you're also separate from your thoughts. Your thoughts aren't you. Your thoughts are just things that either pop into your head or things someone told you back in the day or things you repeatedly tell yourself that you're just in a pattern of. And examine those. And if it's a thought pattern and a story that is not serving you, like, oh, I don't have an agent, or I just don't know the right person, I need to find my big break, or I'm not in the right city. If you're telling you those stories and you're believing yourself, you're the reason. Those thoughts are the reason, not the reality of those thoughts. Just the fact that you have those thoughts in your head, those are the obstacle right there. So it's about smashing through any of those stories that aren't serving you. So it's not about who you know, it's about what you know. And every industry is like that. Our coach and mentor, Tom Todoroff, again, you're going to hear a lot of things that I say are going to be repeated through Tom. That's why I love teaching and coaching other actors, because I get to process and digest things that have been taught to me. I get to say it again. And while I'm saying it again to you, I'm relearning it and rehearing it again. This is like rehearsal in my second class. I spent all day in conservatory classes today doing scene study and then stage combat. And here I am talking to you. So you're going to hear a lot of things from Tom, because he's the most influential acting mentor that I've ever had in my life. And what he says is every career is about first what you know and then who you know. Here's the reason. If it's about who you know, you have an uncle, you know a director, you know a producer, someone introduced you. Even if you know me, you're like, oh, I know Lars, now I got my in. Here's the deal. If that nepotism and if that relationship is able to get your foot in the door and get you an opportunity, get you an audition, or get you on set, if you're not a professional that doesn't have the craft and the know-how and the expertise and the professionalism to know what you're doing, you're going to burn that bridge. You're going to hurt yourself, because you're going to get into an audition scenario or on set where every minute is costing thousands of dollars and the stakes are so high that you're not going to be able to deliver the goods because you're not professionally trained. And you're going to burn that bridge where that uncle, who is a producer, or the casting director that you knew from your student film days, who gave you that opportunity. Well, if you come in and you're not prepped and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to burn that bridge, and they're going to be like, oh shit, like that's the last time I reco them. They kind of made a fool of me, and now my career hurts for it. And now that person, imagine you came to me and you're like, Lars, can you recommend me for a role? And I give you a nudge, but you don't know what you're doing. Then all of a sudden, the person I referred you to, they're not going to take my word for it, because they're like, oh, well, the last guy or girl that he sent us didn't really know what she's doing or he's doing. So it's about training first. Train first. If you haven't taken acting classes and you haven't studied to learn what the heck you're doing, then be here with us to learn the ropes. The sooner you can learn about auditions, the better. But then you got to take a step back and actually learn what it is, and what the job of an actor and what your job as a storyteller in an audition scenario actually is, and then how to execute that. Otherwise, you're going to be burning some of those bridges. So it's not about who you know. It's about first what you know, and then who you know. Then if you're rock solid in your craft, like Jareen, who spent a year taking classes before she ever auditioned, she's got that experience and some professionalism. She's got some know-how, so that when she was able to present herself to an agent and then get auditions, she can deliver the goods, and she's booked roles already. If she hadn't done the classes first, it doesn't make any sense. So just get rid of the idea that you can do this without classes. Maybe you might land the odd role or not. You might land the odd role, but you're certainly not going to have a long-term significant career that lasts for decades and decades without training. It's going to come on the back of training. And once again, in the Audition Hero group, you can sign up for the free workshop with the Todoroff Zoom weekly workshop on Saturdays. No matter where you are in the world, you get top level international faculty. They're some of the best teachers in the world. So start with training. Myth number 4 is I'm a great actor. I just suck at auditions. Oh, no, Lars. I'm an amazing actor. I've taken all kinds of classes. I'm just terrible at auditions. And we got to bust that myth right here. Until you're to the point where you're an A-lister and you're getting offers and you're turning things down, your job is to be an audition professional. That is your job. So you can't be a great actor without auditioning. So again, cart before the horse here. So shift your focus. Yeah, be a great actor, be a great storyteller. But at first, you have to adapt that to the audition scenario and master the process of auditions, especially these days, self-submit auditions via Zoom or by recording them and then submitting them. And so again, you got to get rid of that thinking. Like, don't allow yourself to continue to say that, oh, I'm a great actor, I just suck at auditions. And think about that self-talk too. You can maybe say, oh, I'm a great actor and I'm continuing to work on being a better auditioner. Say that. Really look at your self-talk. Anything repeated that you're saying that's negative about yourself, get rid of that. Get rid of it. Commit in 2022 to lose those old stories. It's like the people who say, oh, I'm terrible at names. I can never remember a name. Or, oh, I'm terrible at language. Don't say that stuff to yourself. Say, I'm working on becoming a better blank. I'm challenging myself to raise my level of blank, rather than tell yourself, oh, I suck at this, I suck at that. If you're like, oh, I always get nerves, or I always get stage fright, or, oh, I'm no good at auditions, I always blow it because I'm nervous. Well, you're nervous because you haven't done enough prep. And your confidence comes from competence, and it comes from preparation and relaxation, so that then you can be prepared, you can be relaxed, and you can just get into that imaginative space as an actor. And myth number 5 is, I can't afford to invest in my acting career. I got to make some money and book some jobs first before I invest in classes and equipment. And you got to get past that. You got to figure out what is the most you can invest in yourself. That might be time, that might be energy, that might be emotions, and certainly it should be money. One of my coaches, James Wedmore, in Business by Design, it's an online business class. He's my business coach, essentially. He talks about the transformation begins with the transaction. When you actually get skin in the game, you take some cash, whether it's acting classes or think about a personal trainer. When you decide, hey, I'm gonna prepay a few $100s for a personal trainer this month to really work on my fitness, what does that do to your mentality? Do you think you show up to those workouts? Do you think you put in a little more effort? Do you blow them off when you know that the trainer's going to be waiting for you at the gym and you paid $300 for the month? No. When you invest in things, it raises your level of investment and it raises your level of commitment too. So, and it's that analogy of you can't get, you don't get heat out of a furnace without stoking it with fuel. You understand what I mean? You don't walk up to the fire and be like, okay, yeah, give me the heat. Warm me up, baby. And then I'll put some wood in you or some oil or some electric, whatever it is. No, you got to stoke it with fuel. That's your time. That's your money. That's your energy. And then you reap the rewards. So it's switching that mentality. So, and this is a tough one early on. If you're in any kind of scarcity mindset, or let's face it, maybe things are tight economically for you, especially in the last year and a half. But my challenge to you is invest as much as you possibly can. Is that investing in your home studio? Is that investing in your classes? Is that investing in auditions? And know that the return on those investments is tenfold, hundredfold, thousandfold. To take 50 or $100 to invest in classes and or an audition session for an audition that then books you a lead role in a feature film, that's a game changer. Yet there are still people who think, oh, I can't spend $50 on booking a studio and a coach for an audition because I don't have any money to do that. Well, you're going to be in this cart before the horse scenario where you got to make that leap first. You got to figure out a way to cross that. And that means having the idea. A lot of people say, don't say I can't, never say you can't afford anything. Just rid that from yourself. This is an abundance mindset thing. Never say I can't afford that. Say instead, how can I afford that? And then all of a sudden that opens possibilities. The second you say I can't afford it, you're just like, no, you've cut yourself off from solutions. And worse, you've cut yourself off from the universe. The universe has a weird way of figuring things out for you when you put it out there that it's something that you want. So when you are like, how can I afford this? You might just say that, and then your fucking rich aunt is like, I can pay for all your classes for you. Or you're like, how can I afford it? Well, what if I saved $20 a week? Or what if I took the money I'm spending on pizza and booze and put it towards classes? What if I spent all my Netflix and chill time and Instagram swipe time and put it into reading plays and reading monologues and reading aloud? There's always a trade-off there. So really think in terms of how can you do something, and don't get stuck in that cart before the horse mode of not being able to invest in your career. Always invest as much as you can, where you are at. Camera equipment, backdrops, lighting, training, all of those things. So those are the 5 myths that we wanted to bust with you mindset wise. I want to go into the chat here. Can we bring up some of those challenges and or obstacles? Adam Daniel Mazet, needing to keep my externals under control. The delicate symphony of lines, affect, emotion, inner thought processes. Not let that get derailed by confusion, translating into poor facial and body control. Yeah, Adam, what you're talking about there really is the heart of a lot of classes. It's about relaxation, body control, breathing, breath, movement, understanding the difference between performing on stage where you're really far away and you're in a wide shot where you can be really big and animated, versus when you're in a close-up like I am right now, where you can literally, all I need to do is like just think stuff and you can see me. I don't need to overreact. So yeah, those are the nuances of classes. And the other thing you mentioned, sort of your body, that's relaxation practices like meditation, like breathing. Look into Alexander technique, Linklater technique, take a voice and speech and breath class, all sort of related to meditation. And that's also tied to your physical fitness too. I think yoga is an amazing practice in general for everyone in life, but acting is, your instrument is your body, and it's your breath and your voice. So if you're ignoring your body and thinking, hey, I'm a human, I know how to talk, I talk every day, I can just pick up words and say them and that's going to be enough. It's way more specific for that. It's about getting rid of all the extra tension in your body, all the little things, like when we speak, some people like their shoulders come up, or even me still, I do this with my eyebrows sometimes. It's about gaining that mastery over your body and your breath. What else we got in the comments here, Brandon? Victoria says, I don't feel like I have a safe environment. When I practice, it's fine, but when I try to sit down in front of a camera, I start feeling stupid. What a joke. Who do you think you are playing pretend, etc., etc.? That's interesting. I would first maybe ask Victoria, why are you feeling that way? Why is that self-talk coming? But remember, this is play. So you got to, it may just be a matter of letting go of those things. This is supposed to be joyful. It's playful. No 5-year-old kid in a sandbox while they're playing and doing all these crazy voices and imagining that they're kings and queens and princesses and princes. They're not thinking, oh, this is silly and stupid. They're just completely immersed in their imagination. They're super relaxed. They're in the moment. They're very present. And there's no self-talk. A 5-year-old kid is not having a little act out with their friend and then going, oh, that sucked. I didn't like the way I said that. Oh, that voice. Oh, the way I moved that truck in the sand. I didn't buy that. That was stupid. No, that's not happening. So I think give yourself some self-love, give yourself some grace there. But also remember that some of those feelings, it's not always a bad sign. If you have some nerves and anxiety, it's not always a bad thing, because you can use that as a signal for more training or more preparation. When you're feeling, if you're feeling nerves, it's because Tom always says it's because if you're anxious and nervous versus excited, you should have a sports anxiety kind of, or a sports excitement, pre-game excitement, like you're raring to go, like the bull in the bullpen getting ready to go, or you're off stage and you're raring to go, but you're not having, oh shit, is this going to go well? Am I going to freeze? Am I going to forget all my lines? Are they going to hate me? Are they going to love me? Are they going to like me? No. But where that comes from is from proper craft, proper training, and prep, which we're going to get into. That comes from craft, because again, confidence comes from competence. So hear those signals. Maybe, Victoria, there I go blurry again. Maybe, where am I? Am I coming back? I'm going to step out 1 sec. And he's back. Maybe those signals, if you're feeling, oh, who am I to do this? Maybe you're feeling that way because you need to go back to some classes and take some more workshops. So I wouldn't sit in those negative thoughts for too long, because they can be self-sabotaging, even when you're at a top level. Guaranteed top level actors and artists everywhere. Right now, Beyonce is probably thinking like, oh man, I suck. Am I ever going to be good at this? And she's killing it. We're human beings. So we have that light side and we have the shadow side. And we always have the self-doubt creep in, but you don't want to live in that self-doubt. Any others, Brandon? I can submit my best auditions when I'm fully relaxed in my room, just giving it all to the lines of the character to have my chances to get the role. Yeah. But if I have one day, is more challenging me for film and TV. Cannot be stressed or with other concerns to truly give my best to get the role, to change the molecules in an audition room. I might need some clarity on that. Joao, are you saying that the more time you have, the more challenging it is? Because the more time you have, that should just mean the more prep you have. So you're even more confident and more competent versus a cold read. So maybe clarify that if you want. If I have 1 week or two to learn the lines, I can make. Okay, so you're saying not having enough time. Well, that's the challenge. The reality of this world is, in the real life world of this, you're at most you're going to have a week for an audition. Often it's the day before. You might have some scenarios where it's the day of, where your agent sends you something and this just came across their desk. They need this today and we need you to get this in. But that's why you learn the craft. That's why we're in conservatory right now, Joao. That's why we're learning all of Tom's techniques, so that it's so much a part of us that it's just inherent. When we pick up a script, all these possibilities pop out, and so that it is a muscle, so that the idea of learning lines and breaking down scenes is something eventually that you've done so many times, and it's so much a part of you that, like, you are always the character. It is always you in your body, in your voice. It's not you playing a character. It's you. it's you all the time. So I think that just comes from reps and it comes from training. Any others here? What's Pippa say? Okay, we'll go to Ilya. My struggle with an audition is I don't know where to search for ones. I tried on the internet, but unfortunately, most of them were either not for my age or available to me due to where I live. Also, I've never seen an example audition to see how the process goes and more. But I think I stepped a little step because I was posting the video of me acting on YouTube in hope of some agent or agency might see it. Okay, a couple things there. Yeah, you do what you can. We can help you with that as far as where to find opportunities. We gave you that Zoom audition session, Ilya, so you're going to be able to connect with some of our one of our audition directors to work through a session with you. Go out and get classes. Also, though, I want to just throw a caveat on there. You mentioned you put a scene out there hoping an agent would see it. I would release the idea of being discovered. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But don't cling to the idea that you're just going to put something out there and magically you're going to be discovered online. Instead, like Brandon, one of our session directors, he likes to say the old Steve Martin statement, which is be so good that they can't ignore you, which is going to mean classes and craft and study. And understand that this isn't an overnight success scenario. It's the classic idea of a 20-year overnight success. Many A-list actors grinded it out as day players, continuing to learn. They got smaller parts. They graduated to bigger parts. They kept working. They kept learning. They kept building their network and their community and their craft. And then they eventually got to the top of the mountain. So I would put more of it on yourself to learn and grow than the idea of you're going to put it on social media and someone's going to discover you. If that happens, amazing. And the fact that we've already connected here is a sign that that kind of thing can happen, but it's not something that you want to rely on. You want to rely on yourself and your craft and your body and your own decisions and goals and determination. All right. Any more? Pippa says, I usually work very hard on my self-tapes and I feel okay about what I put forward. However, the next day I think of a million things I'd rather have done with them. Snap, snap, snaps. Yeah, I mean, it's like a painting. When is a painting ever done? When is a song ever done? You could continue painting forever. You could continue re-editing and rehearsing that song and never record a finished version. What I would say, Pippa, is you just want to be confident that you're putting as much time and prep into it as you possibly can so that you know I did the most with the time that I had. Because, yeah, you're always going to have that. You're always going to have that thought of, oh shit, there's one more idea. And hopefully that comes after your first audition before your callback, or maybe it happens after your callback before you get on set so that you have an opportunity to play that choice that you left out. But that always happens. But the worst feeling is when that happens and you didn't properly prep, meaning you didn't spend the time, you didn't do the work. Maybe you got the audition on a Friday and you didn't start working onto it till Sunday night and it was due Monday morning. Well, what if you had worked on it Friday night right away, slept on it Friday night, your subconscious? I love, if you ever have the opportunity to sleep on things, always do it. Me personally, we'll talk about this in a few minutes. I work hard and I've been working harder at this. This is a challenge I've had sometimes where I do procrastinate. I'll get it on a Thursday and I will let a couple days pass. I'll see that I don't have a deadline till be like, oh, I got the whole weekend. So I'll lose a few days. But if I had worked on it a few hours that day, slept on it, let it percolate in my subconscious, had a few more ideas, this stuff just comes to us. And it's like, it's out there in the ether and sort of in the universe. And the more time you put into it and the more times you practice these lines, the more times you rehearse it, the more times you're looking at the script, these possibilities just start to come out. And yeah, it's just more time. I had one recently in class where it was given to us as a cold read scenario. So we had to be ready for a cold read, but then it turned out we had a couple extra days. And the things that I found in those couple extra days made my audition and made that performance way better, but it was just because I had the extra time. So just use all the time you have so that you're not feeling that regret of, oh, I had a brilliant idea the day after, which doesn't help you out. Any others there? Facebook users, stop thinking about what could come of it. My intentions were, since the submission tops the My intentions were, since the submission topped the job, if they ask me for a self-tape, means they want to see me and it's an honor, put me on their scope. Then I send in my best work, all my love, vibrations and all. Then poof, moving on. Yeah, you got to let it go. You got to submit it once it's there. All right. We're going to transition now. Now that we bashed some of those myths, I dealt with some of those concerns and obstacles that you deal with. I want to talk about an audition system. Now, you got to develop your own system. And what we're talking about is being in a situation where from the time you get an audition, whether you get it on your own or get it from an agent, your email comes in, you go into autopilot mode where you're just like laser focused. You see the date and the deadline that it's due, and you just go into autopilot knowing exactly what you need to do to prep it, to rehearse it, all the way to recording and submitting it. So you can take some notes, of course, too. You can check back to the replay if you miss any of this. And feel free throughout this, ask some questions to clarify. I'm not going to suggest that this needs to be your system verbatim. And I don't want to give you that. You got to find your own, what works for you. I'm just going to share what works for me and what I strive to do and what I've been improving to do and what we do here in the studio and what we see top actors here in our studio at Actors Audition Club doing. So the acronym HERO, by the way, if you know me, I fucking love acronyms. They save time. We don't have time to say all these sentences. We need to say acronyms, AKA. So HERO, what does that stand for? We're going to start with home studio. We live in a day and age where a lot of your auditions are self-submit and or via Zoom. Even before that, you should have been at the point where you have a home studio. Everyone on the call today, as an actor, as a creator, as a performer, make the shift from you are just an artist / actor to you are a media company. You are a media company, meaning you have the ability to record and broadcast yourself to the entire globe right now. So what does that mean? You need to have a dedicated space at home where you can create and you can record. Now, the level of studio, like that can range from very amateur in the beginning to super professional. But the faster you can get it to as professional as possible, the better. So I'm not saying that you have to invest a certain amount of money or you have to do X, Y, and Z. But I'm saying the more you do, the more you invest, the better you make it, the better your results will be and the better return on that investment that you'll get. So what I'm saying is take a look at your home studio. And here's why this is important. If every time you get an audition, and this is what used to happen to me, so I may be preaching to the choir. I'm certainly preaching to myself. I used to have to figure out, okay, first, where am I going to record this? I didn't have a dedicated studio space, so I got to move tables around and chairs and take things off the wall. Got to move lamps around or find a window to give me natural light, take pictures off the wall. I got to stack books up and find a good spot for the camera. And then all of a sudden you're spending an hour of your day just to get to the point where you have a setup that works. And then on top of that, you also have to find someone to be a reader and or camera operator. So that's a whole other ball of wax for people too. And we're going to talk about all of those things. But what do you need? Basically, you need a professional HD camera, which everyone on this call, I'm assuming you either have one of these or you have a laptop or some kind of tablet. So your camera is not the issue. You might need a tripod. You don't want a shaky frame. You don't really want to just, you could set it up on books or something. You're always recording in landscape mode, not Instagram reel or TikTok mode. That's an instant show that you're an unprofessional or potentially an amateur to casting directors. You need decent lighting. So think about what do you need? It doesn't need to be state of the art, cutting edge. They need to see you clearly, light on your face, light on your eyes, no shadows. You don't want to be backlit. If you have a light or a window behind you, all of a sudden your shadow and the light coming through the window blows out the camera. And they need to be able to hear you. That could be your onboard camera mic. Some people invest in lav mics or what's called a shotgun mic. We can reach out regarding certain tech setups. You can reach out for them. I don't want to get into that too much. The reason is tech changes all the time. So I can't give you like a tech lesson, because next year one of those things is going to be obsolete as they've upgraded, and then the new shiny object is going to come out. So just know that what you need to do is take a real like an audit of your setup and be like, is this the best it could be right now? Do I have a neutral backdrop? Do I need to get a fabric backdrop? Do I need to get a green screen? Highly suggest a green screen, because then you can take advantage of the power of virtual backdrops. We submit all kinds of them here, where the scene is in a bar, or it's in a boardroom, or it's in a subway station. Oh, there goes the blur again. Hang on one sec. And he's back. So a green screen is a great idea. You can really up level your game now. Caveat to green screens, you got to make sure that you do them well. If you're disappearing and sort of like, you guys know what I mean. If you're doing a bad Zoom virtual backdrop where your arms are disappearing or props are disappearing in the backdrop, it's going to be very distracting. Also, it can't be super distracting. So if you choose a backdrop that has all kinds of things and it's very busy, that's going to pull focus from you. Or if it has words in the back or signs with words on them, it's still got to be neutral, and it needs to complement you. So whatever your backdrop is, whether it's virtual or just a blank screen, it needs to still create a situation where you are the focus. What else can we say about home studios? Brandon, you want to pop on? I want to introduce Brandon Knox, aka the BK Broiler. He's a fantastic actor, and he's run hundreds of audition sessions here at Laughing Vikings. Anything you want to add to home studios?
No, I think you covered a lot of what we talk about, especially on the podcast that we do on Monday, and like what we work with at the studio. I think basically what you covered is pretty much everything that we've talked and spoken about, really.
Okay, so I'll tell you what my setup is currently.
Yeah.
And everything I have here, with the exception of the laptop, is maybe $300 or less. So I have right now my laptop is on a laptop tripod, which is basically a laptop stand that is on a tripod. It's adjustable, so I can adjust it if I'm seated or standing. It goes to about 6 feet tall. You always want lens to be eye level, so that you're not a weird thing where the lens is below you and it looks like you're way above it, or where you're down here looking up at the lens. Is generally you want to have lens at eye level. I have two soft lights, which I'll show you the kind that I have. I'll see if I can do this. Can you see that? See a little bit of that? I don't know if you can quite see that, but you see them all the time on online. And I have a webcam. I have like maybe $100 webcam attached. I don't use the webcam in my laptop because generally their quality isn't great. And I have an external mic here as well. This is like a voiceover mic, what's called a cardioid microphone. So this isn't like thousands, and I don't have like a $10,000 studio setup, but like everything $500 or less. And if right now $500 is sending alarm bells, you can do it way less than that. You have your phone. You can buy a little phone tripod or a phone attachment that clips onto something, and a ring light.
Yeah, most ring lights will have a phone attachment for you anyway. Yeah.
One caveat about ring lights, I personally sometimes am not a fan, because depending on how close you are to them, they do that halo effect in your eyes, and it makes you kind of look a little bit like an alien, and it sort of changes your the eyes are the gateway to the soul, so people need to see your true eyes. So just watch that. If your eyes are if you're watching a tape that you filmed and you had a ring light and your eyes look like you're some kind of weird alien, it might be a little distracting. You might just adjust some of the lighting and figure that out. But again, don't overthink this. One of my least favorite things to see is someone just fretting or having what they call paralysis by analysis, where you're spending 6 months deciding on a microphone or a webcam. Do some quick YouTube research, do some quick Google search, and then just make a decision, knowing that you're not needing to find your forever studio right now, especially if you're just starting out. you need a basic setup so they can see you and hear you that is as good as it can be right now. And then know that as a professional throughout your life and career, you're going to constantly up level that. So don't allow that paralysis. Especially, I see it all the time with people who start podcasts. They're like, oh, I want to start a podcast. And they spend 6 months figuring out what microphone to buy. It's like, you could just use your phone and record it, and you would have 20 episodes of your podcast already. So spend maybe an afternoon and then just make a decision. The hours and hours and hours that you spend, especially if you're price comparing, don't spend a whole day to save $50, because what you just did is you just valued your own time at $5 an hour, less than minimum wage. When you aspire to be a leading player that's earning thousands of dollars an hour on set, you can't be doing $5 an hour jobs. So just don't waste that time. So home studio, there's a million resources online. Everything I say here, literally, you could do in a YouTube Google search, and in half an hour, you watch a couple of videos. But the main thing is up level. So wherever you are right now, my challenge to you is up level your studio. Ideally, a dedicated space. We have a studio here in Toronto and soon to be in other cities for people who don't have a home studio, or for people who have a spot, but it's unreliable sound-wise. There's always jackhammers or noisy neighbors, or their dog and kids are always too noisy, or they just don't have a reliable reader or session director. Sometimes it's not the studio that's the issue. Sometimes you need a helper to work with you, which is why we exist here at Actors Audition Club. But do what you can with what you got where you are, and then up level, up level, up level, up level. So my challenge to you, and I'll talk about it a little later, is look at your home setup and figure out what could be better. If you don't have a dedicated space, negotiate with your spouse and kids for that den, or for the laundry room, or for the corner of the living room, for that blank wall and some space and some quiet. Maybe it's some sound blankets. Maybe it's there's a million things to do, but just improve it, knowing that you're a media company, and to be an actor today without a means for a home studio and to submit via Zoom and to jump on Zooms, you almost can't participate in the industry without having that ability. So you got to look at that first before you look at all of those other things. But again, first look at craft and acting classes. No sense having a brilliant home studio if you don't know what you're doing in the first place. So that's H, home studio. E, I'm going to call execution. This is that checklist mode. What is execution? When you execute something, you're executing a plan. An executor of a will, they're going through a checklist that the deceased person had presented to them, and they're going through their wishes and following through and figuring out, okay, this property goes there, this money goes there. It's all on a list. Who gets what? So you want to put together a list from the time you get an audition to the time you record it, which we're going to talk about next. What are you doing? So we're going to talk about some of those things. So what do you typically get? If you're getting it from an agent, or if you're finding it online, ideally you're seeing who the producers are, who the writers are, what the project is, the co-producers, the casting directors. You're getting that project information. So right away, part of that checklist should be look up the producers, look up the production company, look up that director, look up that writer. If it's a show that already exists, you got to watch that show. You can't be auditioning for Law and Order like it's an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So if you don't know the show, you need to figure out the world you're in and a little bit about the tone and how the actors, just what the world is like. Again, you can have very, very contrasting worlds if you don't look at that. And you'll look at the words in your sides and you'll say them fine. They'll look at your audition and be like, this guy has no idea what this show is, doesn't know the tone of it at all. An example is that show C. Everyone doesn't have the ability to see in that show. So if you were to audition and not realize that your character cannot see, you're going to be acting in a way that just does not fit the show. Production's going to see that, and they're going to be like, well, we certainly can't cast this guy. He doesn't even know the world that he's in. So learning those things and taking that time. The next thing that I would do is you take your sides. Personally, I like to write out all of my lines sometimes the other character's lines too, but you can, some people have preference. Some people only do their lines, others do both. But what we do here, and Brandon and I can talk about this, is we take out, and this is shout out to Tom Todoroff again. This is who taught us this. He takes out all the punctuation and all the little stage directions. So little things like commas and periods and exclamation points, because acting isn't grammatical. In real life, we don't talk in it. I don't start a sentence and then pause at a comma and then pause at a period. I'm just stream of consciousness. We think in terms of ideas and we think long thoughts. So if you're pausing at every period and every comma and all the punctuation and you're playing it exactly that way, it's going to be very slow and boring. It's not going to be truthful. It's not going to seem like real life. And the casting and production team, if they've watched 50 of these and you're beat by beat, word by word, following the punctuation, they are going to be falling asleep and it's just not going to work. You're not going to stand out. And the other thing is little stage directions, like he sighs or he sits down. With rare exception, take the vast majority of those out. That was for the writer to help the director out and or the actors a little bit, but it's your job as the actor to take that off the page. And one of the fastest ways to blend in is to play all the punctuation and play all the stage directions. And you're not going to get cast for how well you sat. Be like, oh shit, did you see how that guy sat right when the script told him to sit? Brilliant. Like that's never going to be an issue, and never worry about that either. It's not going to be a thing where they're like, oh shit, the guy didn't sit when it said to sit. Is he going to be able to follow directions? It's not really about that in an audition. So take all that stuff out, and then that frees you up where you're not bound by those stage directions and bound by the punctuation. You're going to appear like a real live human being. You're going to be able to make choices that pop off the page and that aren't cookie cutter like everyone else. Can you add to that, Brandon?
Yeah, I love taking out the punctuation. I really, again, for most plays especially, when they say someone sits or someone stands or mumbles or whispers or whatever, most of the time that is just what happened in that original production. It's not anything that you need to be concerned about. Especially the mumbles and whispers. You don't want to be doing that anyway, because you want to be clear. You want to have diction. You want to be supported by your voice, because that's our main instrument, right? That is one of our main points of connecting with somebody else is our voice and our mannerisms. And so we want to be using that, so that way we're coming across and we're using everything at our disposal to make those choices and to make the most interesting choices for a casting director that's like, oh wow, that was different. I wasn't expecting them to do that. Be unpredictable, as Tom likes to say.
Right. Yeah. And it's not about being unpredictable just for the sake of it. This is what I feel. You got to really think, what is my job as an actor in an audition scenario? I mean, the first thing is to tell the story. It's story beats everything. You have to tell the story. They need to see you and hear you. You have to communicate the story. You have to communicate the words, but you have to take them off the page and not just give a reading that is punctuation and following stage directions. You have to make this a real life, living, breathing human being. And if you want to be cast in that role, you have to show your unique skills and your unique talents as a human being, who you are, show them who you are. And we all love Tom's saying, you got to pee on it. You got to make it yours, like a dog would pee on something to mark his territory, so that you can take the script from being, he always shows us here, from if this is a script, you don't want the script out here and I'm an actor and here's the character and there's this weird separation. You want to take it and all of a sudden the script is in here as part of you, because you've made strong, unique choices that are personalized to you. So, and that's where your personality shines and your charisma shines. So that's, I think, what the task is. Your job is to tell the story in the most compelling way, showing your full range as a human being, as a performer. So that's physical, that's vocal variation, that's any special skills. If you're a singer and you can sing a line or weave in a little musicality to it, if you're a dancer and you have a background in music and there's a spot where you can throw in a little spin or anything personal to you. Obviously humor is amazing. If you have a sense of humor and you can find little humorous, funny moments. Tom always loves to say funny is money. There's never a time where you laugh at someone, and like when you laugh, that's proof positive that what you did was successful. It's like so endearing when you make people laugh. It's surprising. They didn't see it coming and they laugh, and you're going to be higher in those books than people who weren't funny. But again, not being funny for the sake of funny. I'm not saying like just be wacky and jokey and make faces. You got to tell the story first, but tell it uniquely you. So I think that's the what we're aiming for. What were you going to say, Brandon?
Yeah, it also comes down to you having fun with it, because the more we're having fun doing the role, doing the audition, the more that's going to read in the tape, in the audition that you're going to be submitting, because you're actively engaged in it.
Right.
That's so important.
Yeah, you need to be a fully alive and fully expressive human being, and that's, if you think of all these A-listers or stars, they have that X factor. That X factor really, aside from years and years of craft and training, is they have a vitality and a charisma and a spark inside them. They let you know how they feel about everything. They're in the moment. They're present. They react to everything. They listen very well, but they're an alive human being that you're not looking at them thinking like, oh, this is the character. You're just watching a human being be fully expressive and react in the moment. So let's talk about, so that's kind of the execution. R is rehearsal and recording. So you get the script, you look up the production, you write down all the words, you get rid of the punctuation, you get rid of the stage directions. Now what is the work? What do? It's a Friday night and you got to record this before Monday. What is your weekend spent doing? It's spent rehearsing or rehearing. And I want to reiterate something that we've been taught is I believe separate yourself from the idea of there's a stage that you are memorizing lines, and then when you memorize lines, then you're starting to rehearse. The rehearsal process starts with, I would say, call it learning the lines, but you're learning them vocally and organically and getting them in your body. We're always told 250 times as a minimum. So that means saying it a different way, saying it while you're washing the dishes, while you're going on a run, while you're on the phone with somebody, lying down at night, saying it in different voices and different dialects, singing one, going really fast on one, going really slow in one, adding crazy physicality. Maybe you do one where you are ballroom dancing through the whole thing. Do it a million different ways. Michael Caine famously is known by saying that before he steps on set, he has said his lines aloud through a whole movie. All of his lines, he's said them aloud 1,000 times before he gets on set. And that's so that they are in your body. So the thing that you want to avoid is this phase of memorization, which is all in your head, where like if you ever find yourself as an actor with sides, these are sides here. If I'm just going like, or just reading them in my head silently, that's not what it is. You're not helping yourself. If you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to memorize them one way, all intellectually in your brain, and then you're going to have to almost shake all of that off to then infuse it in your body. So you might as well learn it in your body, learn it aloud, vocally, using your full vocal resonance and your full range of vocal variation by and also using the famous line from Hamlet's advice to the players: suit the action to the word and the word to the action. So if you are putting actions and physicality to it on certain words, what movements and what motions make sense. That might mean a little bit of blocking. If there's a quiet moment or an intense moment, that might mean this is when I get close. If I'm backing away, you might be figuring out some of that blocking based on those words, but really getting it in your body. And like Pippa was saying, if you have those ideas after the fact, maybe it means you need to front end load your preparation so that you're having all those ideas throughout rehearsals and audition. And the thing that, again, we highly recommend take a class with Tom. A lot of Tom's training is based on this book. If you don't have this book yet, this is Michael Shirtliff, The Audition. Brandon's going to flash his too. There's something called guideposts in here. We don't have the scope to go into it in this workshop, but really your rehearsal period and your prep period is the word rehearsal. So saying aloud, hearing the words, what did that sound like? What does that word sound like? How could I change that? How could I adjust that? Did that feel connected? Did that sound connected? Was that emotional? But it's also a series of questions. And that's what this book is. When you look at a script, really what you're doing is you're asking yourself as an actor and as the character a series of questions, and your performance is the answers to those questions. So it's going step by step through a technique and through a process. And this is where acting classes come through, and learning a technique and learning a framework. Ours is largely based in Michael Shirtliff's Audition and a handful of other techniques that Tom has taught us, so that every time we look at an audition, we're not stabbing at the dark. We're not winging it. We're not just judging it and going by our gut. We're following an exact process by asking a checklist of questions about the script and about the character, who is you, never refer to the character as he or him or them. It's you. You're the character, and that's in those given circumstances. So personalize it. And then in your rehearsal and prep period, it's asking those questions, answering them with the strongest choices as well. So don't release the idea of what do they want. That's not what the job is. Your job isn't to be a mind reader and be like, oh, what do they want me to do? There's 1,000 ways I could do this. You want me to say it like this? You want me to say it like this? You want me to sit down? You want me to stand up? That's not how you get things in your life. And it's not how you get things in the acting world. You don't get things in your life by asking everyone, oh, what should I want? What should I do? Should I do this? Should I sit? Should I stand? No, you just decide what you want, and then you go out and fight for it. And in the acting world, that means infusing your performance with all of the colors of the rainbow. Tom loves to say, don't make one choice when you can make three. Don't make three choices when you can make 33. So don't look at a script and be like, oh, do they want me to be happy here, or do they want me to be mad? And then you're just painting, I'm going to wash this with yellow, or I'm going to wash this with gray, whether I want to be happy or angry. No, you want to be a little bit of everything. And the full human experience is everything is everything. You've been at funerals and someone made you laugh. You've been at comedy shows and maybe you got a text message and some devastating news, and you're at a comedy show, but you're crying. So everything is everything in life. So it's about painting with all the colors and seeing possibilities instead of looking at it as a test of like, oh, what do they want me to do here? Look at a script and be like, what can I do with this? What is the strongest choice? How many colors and possibilities can I infuse into this? Not right or wrong. It's weak or strong, which is something that we hear in conservatory as well. There's no right or wrong. This is art. There's no subjective, oh, you said that the wrong way. But there is truthful and not truthful. If I don't believe it, it takes me out of it. And there's a weak choice versus a strong choice. So it's, how do you feel about everything? What are the strongest choices? Using all the guideposts or using your entire technique, your entire body, vocal variation, viewpoints, all of those sort of things. You want to add anything to that, Brandon?
Yeah, I think the first question that I always ask whenever I'm working with someone at Laughing Vikings is, what's your emotional connection to the other character that you're speaking to? And sometimes they have a very concise answer, and sometimes it is a very long, factual answer that doesn't really help them. And it's reshaping that idea that facts alone aren't enough. Tom likes to say it comes from the hips, comes from the heart, it comes from the head. That is last. Your head wants to do all the work, but it can't. It can't feed into somebody emotionally. And that is what we want and what we're striving for as performers, as actors. We want to be connecting to our audience and to the other person emotionally, as Lars brought up before. And what I always like to do, the first thing I do, especially in rehearsals, is I always step the text. It immediately helps me get the words into my body and I'm wandering around. I pace a lot when I'm in rehearsals, and I'm just wandering around, not aimlessly. And sometimes it's very specific. Sometimes it's a little bit more chaotic, and it sort of depends on the role that I'm working on. But I always start with stepping the text. So that is saying each word as I move. And the more you do that, the more you incorporate everything and get your whole body into it, the more emotions are going to come out for you. That's what I feel anyway. It is so important to get moving, to get active with it, because then that starts to feel alive. And I feel like there's a lot of stages to this, and we have to get into we have to have a hand phase where we're talking with our hands, and then after that phase, there's a stillness phase that you have to reach with the words. Because the more still you are, and I think we brought up this before, love doesn't hit a moving target. That's what Tom loves to say. And I really love that quote from him. And because I really do believe it is the next stage of your acting career is mastering this stillness, because it is so crucial. And the more you see like Leonardo DiCaprio, the more you see like big name actors, the stiller they are in a lot of very crucial moments. And I think that's where we need to get to in our rehearsal process. And that comes from doing it 250 ways. That comes from making sure that it's in our body. That comes from asking the emotional questions. The more you're asking these questions, the more you're finding, the better off you're going to be, the better your auditions are going to be. Keep going. Yeah, keep digging.
Yeah, and that stillness that's an awareness of camera lens. If you're in a close up, you can barely move at all because you can see your eyes and you're right here. I can't move and I'm out of it. If you're in a wide shot, then yeah, you can be a little more physical. So it's knowing that, and the difference is also when you're on stage, people are 400 feet away in a balcony. Well, yeah, then you got to be big and you got to be a little extra expressive so that you can project that to the back. But that also comes from maybe taking some on-camera classes as well. Now the recording portion of it. So we talked a little bit about rehearsals. Recording, again, they need to see you. You need good lighting. You need good, a decent audio setup. It's always going to be landscape. And leading up to that, I think making sure one other thing in your checklist should be a vocal and or body warm-up. You would never go to a sports tryout without doing a full warm-up. And a lot of people don't realize or forget that acting is very physical. It involves your full body, your entire nervous system. So you want to be relaxed and stretched and activated. You want all your vocal range to be fully there and your breath to be there and fully resonant. And sometimes people, I think, forget that, and they wake up in the morning and then they go do an audition, and it doesn't read as a fully expressive human being because they're not really fully vocally and physically there yet because they haven't done a full warm-up. So the idea of, like, even if that means go for a run and do a little calisthenics or a quick little home yoga or a little circuit training, like a HIIT workout where you're just fully alive, the blood's pumping, you got oxygen in your brain and fresh oxygen in your body. And then that when you're recording it, we won't get too much into the tech, but we have an opportunity now where you can do as many takes as you like. There's sometimes maybe a diminishing return of an investment if you're getting too nitpicky. Like ideally you do all your front loaded prep and then you can come in and in a handful of takes, bang out what you had planned and enjoy it. There goes the blur again. Stand by, and he's back. Ooh. Yeah, so the recording process too, the reality is you most likely need some help with that. So you either need to be connecting with someone via Zoom, which is what we do here at Actors Audition Club, or find a studio. here in our studio or in a city that we'll be in, or if we're not in a city that you're in right now, then find a local studio. But getting some community help so that you have a partner and you have a friend and a second pair of eyes to show you that as well. Brandon, can you just share a quick sort of idea of, you've done so many, is there a difference in your mind between how a winning actor carries himself in a session, in an audition where they book the role, versus someone who comes in and isn't quite where they need to be? Oh, did we lose Brandon? Oh, we lost Brandon. Brandon will be back. Brandon is not here right now. I hope he's okay. So we are going to move on here. Oh, I'm running solo here. What did he say, Brandon? I'm going to check a private chat. Pop off in the comments right now if you have any questions. I'm going to share the last letter of the acronym here. This is observation. So I would say you got your home set up, the H, you got all your execution and your game plan, the E, the rehearsal and recording, you've done it. Observations, I think, is just like anything in life. After you've done something, take a little debrief time, a little decompression, watch the audition, take notes on how you felt on audition day, how you felt in the studio, how you felt during the recording process, maybe some notes on what you learned, maybe some notes on what you liked. I think the more introspective you are in your life, the better, and you'll learn some things. So it's the idea of journaling, and it's the idea of reflecting. And a lot of people keep an audition journal, especially the idea that Pippa brought up, where you have these ideas afterwards. Well, if you're recording these ideas, even if it's afterwards, you might be able to work that into a callback, or you just might start seeing patterns where you're like, oh shit, I'm always missing this one category of choice or idea in my auditions. I need to spend a little extra time while I'm prepping before I record to make sure I always get that in there. And you'll start to see these kind of patterns. So just the O in your hero system is observing, taking some time to debrief. It's like, again, every sports team, they have game day, but then afterwards they look at the tape and they break it down and they see, what did I do well? What didn't I do well? What could I improve upon for next time? And if you're missing that step, you might be just repeating the same mistakes over and over again, which means you might not be growing as quickly as you could. And that also means maybe you're getting feedback from someone. You could be potentially asking your agent or another actor friend, or for those people here at Actors Audition Club, we always are giving people feedback, and we're really not submitting an audition that we don't feel is top notch, but we're always able to give that feedback to people so that they know what they're doing and how they're progressing. All right. So flip to comments. Do we have any comments, questions before I want to start wrapping it up? Pop off if that's helpful too. So we've busted all those myths that acting is a solo journey, that your training has a completion date, that acting is all who you know, that you're a good actor, but you're just bad at auditions, or that you can't afford to invest in your career. We smashed all that. So all that's gone. That's the past. Those are old stories for you. And then we talked about the core content of just developing your own system and process. That's ideally a checklist. So what is your home studio setup like? The execution, what do you do from the second you get your sides? What is the work? What are you actually working on while you're preparing it? Then the actual rehearsal and recording process itself, either in a studio or via Zoom with people like us, and then taking the time to observe it and shake it down and decompress and notice some things about it. Any questions about that at all? Regarding feedback, real quick, how do you address conflicting feedback? Victoria, I would say address it the same way you would in your life. It's your life. So ultimately it's your decision. And you have to look at where that advice is coming from. I would only take advice from people who are professionals and further along than you. And I would be wary of advice from non-professionals or from family members who maybe they've seen television and movies, but they don't really understand the craft of acting and storytelling. But ultimately, who you're putting on tape is you. So that representation is you. So you're the final choice. If you want to do something one way or the other, you have to make that decision. So it's about feeling strong and confident enough that you're putting forth your best foot and not having those seeds of doubt. But also that does come from training so that you know what a good audition looks for, and you know how to avoid some of the pitfalls and traps that an amateur or brand new person might make. Victoria says, this has been fantastic. I feel so much more prepared moving forward. Snap, snap, snap. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Last thing we're going to do, just a little bit more training, some core content here for you is we talked about the hero's mindset. We busted all those myths, and we talked about having an execution plan and a checklist. But how do you get those auditions? So we're just going to share some ideas. Whether you have an agent or not, there's ways to get more auditions for yourself. So great. If you have an agent, perfect. But if you're just waiting for emails from your agent, then you're leaving money on the table. And if you don't have an agent, you got to start making things happen for yourself. So we're going to talk real quick about some ways that you can get auditions and make more opportunities for yourself. So number one is social media. We live in a world where it's a global community. Never before could you connect with more actors, see more casting postings and breakdowns. So what does that mean? That means most likely Facebook, Instagram, maybe TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Probably those five places in social media. And what are you looking for? You're looking for acting communities in major markets and major cities. You're looking for casting director pages. You're looking for acting support groups, places that post scripts and readings, but really the casting sites. A lot of casting directors will have a page and they'll post daily or weekly videos on the do's and don'ts, or every casting director wants actors to succeed. That's the thing. It's not you versus the casting director. You're a collaborator with them. Casting directors love actors and they want you to succeed. So they'll share a lot of those tips. So if you're following some casting directors online, you're going to hear what they want and what they look for, some do's and don'ts. Again, that can be personal to them. So never take one casting director's sort of quote unquote rules as the be all and end all. Every rule is made to be broken, and certain people have certain preferences and other people have other preferences. So you maybe learn some of those intricacies. But the other major tip that I have for you on social media, this is something that I guarantee you right now, if you're like, how do I get more auditions? I'm going to give you a tip right now that will result in you getting more opportunities. And that is to start tagging other people, other actor friends, for roles that they fit on social media. So what am I saying? I'm saying put booking karma into the world. So when you join these casting sites and these Facebook groups and these communities, and you see that they post a breakdown for BIPOC female age 20 to 30 or 60 to 70-year-old grandmother type. Well, if that's not you, tag friends and other actors who are, and all of a sudden you're sending karma and booking mojo their way. You're raising them up and you're helping your community and friends. And what'll happen is then when they see something that fits you, they're going to be like, oh, Lars keeps tagging me in these opportunities. I booked a role that I earned thousands of dollars from. I want to start paying him back for those. Humans, we have this funny thing, which is great, is when people help us, we almost feel guilty. And we're like, I got to help this guy back. We don't like having too many favors paid for us where you don't pay that back. So when someone gives something to you, you want to give a gift back to them. That's why anytime, if you've ever been given a gift at Christmas by someone that you didn't expect to get one, you're like, oh shit, now I got to get them a gift. And you want to do that, right? Because they were nice enough to pay you that kindness. So that's a like easy tip. Look at breakdowns that don't fit you and tag away. And you can do that on a daily basis. When you're on those pages, see them, be tagging your top 10 or top 50 people in your community. And then that's going to eventually come back to you. That's an easy tip there. Second one is casting, the actual formal casting sites. So I'm going to say a few right now. We can maybe pop off in the group later, or you can look them up. Here in North America, castingworkbook.com. And most of these sites, even if you don't have an agent, you can make a profile where you can put your headshots and your resume and demos. You might not have access to as many breakdowns as someone with an agent has, or you might not see the same thing that agents do see, but it can be a start. So Casting Workbook, actorsaccess.com, Casting Networks, I'm not sure if it's plural. It's either castingnetwork.com or casting networks. Again, a Google search is your best friend on a lot of these things. Another one is Backstage. That's a big one. What's the other one? I think there's another one, Star Network or Star Entertainment. A non-union one for someone who's non-union, at least in North America, but I believe they're international now. Mandy.com. Mandy.com. These are all places where you can build a profile, which has your resume and your credits and your demo reel, your professional headshots, maybe your special skills, your sizes, and then casting can actually search by those things. You can put on what languages you speak. Do you know martial arts? Do you speak different dialects? And you build these profiles, and then you're searchable as an actor, and you can start submitting for projects on those sites. Some of them may be an investment of like $100 a year to do it, but all of those sites, one booking on any one of those sites is going to more than cover your investment. So again, it's about figuring out a way to invest in your career up front so that you can get some return on that investment. So yeah, maybe you have to drop $100 on one of these sites, but the second you book one gig, that's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 or 500 or maybe 1,000 or a few thousand, or maybe it's a commercial campaign that pays you tens of thousands of dollars. So it is worth it. And I can vouch for all those sites. I've booked work on all of those sites. So yeah, you just get yourself out there on the casting sites. A third one is casting director workshops. A lot of casting director workshops will have, a lot of casting directors will have workshops for actors where they have a bunch of actors pay to come in. You pay like any other workshop for either a full day or a weekend. Now, a lot of them are via Zoom, and you get to know personally that casting director. You get to see their process and how they work. Often they'll give you audition sides that you have to prepare, or you have to prepare a scene or a monologue. A few things though, like understand that that is kind of a pay to play scenario. Yeah, there might be an investment for me to pay a couple $100 to potentially develop a relationship with someone who didn't know me, who can now cast me in a network TV series, assuming I do a great job in the workshop. That is a valid investment. But you also got to look at who's running it. Is it the actual casting director, or is it their assistants running it? So you got to, I would say, do your research with those. But those are fantastic opportunities to meet casting directors, to learn from professionals. And I've attended some where I prepped really, really hard and I felt I did a good job. And then all of a sudden I was getting auditions for network television and films that I wouldn't have otherwise, because that casting director hadn't come across my name or my demo reels. So be willing to invest. And the last one is your personal connections. You know other actors, you've worked with other people in the past. If you've been on set, you've met directors, you've met assistant directors, you've met DOPs, you've met casting directors, casting assistants, producers. Foster those relationships, maintain those relationships, do a great job when you are on set. There's a lot of people on this call right now that are incredible humans, that every time you're on set, you're just a shining light of love and brightness and energy. And people are like, oh, she's amazing. Let's have her back. Next time they cast something else, they're going to have you back. Reach out, foster those relationships in a two-way scenario. You see them post about a project, share their project, give them a shout out on social. Congratulations. Go to people's plays, watch their screenings, share their demo reels, so that when you have projects, you're able to do the same. And then you can go back to some of those casting directors, and producers and be like, hey, by the way, I'm in this new production. It's going to be amazing. I left some VIP tickets for you. You're on the VIP list. Please come out and watch the show. Or here's my new demo reel, and would love you to check it out. I just got some new footage from this show, and this show. I believe it's my best work. Here, take a peek at it. So foster those relationships. And a lot of it is your peers. Don't make the mistake of thinking that all of your success is going to come from reaching up to people who are like famous A-list celebrities and like, oh, I gotta meet Tom Hanks, and somehow if I ever meet Tom Hanks, he's going to give me my big shot. No, it's probably going to be people that you went to school with, people in your conservatory, people you've been on set with, your peers, And there's unfortunately sometimes a tendency, the old crab in a bucket syndrome, where you're trying to reach up, but then other people are reaching up and kind of pulling you down. No, you just need to look around in your bucket of crabs. Brandon loves this analogy. Look around in your crab bucket and be like, hey, we got a bunch of great crabs here in this bucket. Let's just make our own movie and make our own opportunities. So stop trying to reach up and pull yourself up and feeling that you have to push people down around you. Look to your peer group for those opportunities. And when they're writing their own projects, they're going to want to cast you. They're going to send audition opportunities out to you when they're writing their own short films. Someone like Elio in Lebanon, maybe right now the best way you can be in something is by connecting with a peer group who wants to make things, and you want to make little short films and sketches, and all of a sudden you find your little collab, and in 5 years you are the top actors and the top crew in Lebanon, putting out amazing material, rather than thinking that it can't be in your own backyard, or it has to be Hollywood, or it has to be New York or London or LA. So those are a few extra ways and things to think about how to get more auditions. Now, your call to action tonight. We're going to wrap it up. If you have final questions, you can pop them off in the chat right now. You can also throw them in the group later. But your challenge and your call to action on day 2. We had Ilio win day 1. He's going to win a Zoom audition session to connect with one of our Zoom directors. Victoria also won the same as well. We'll reach out to both of you. But your day 2 opportunity for a similar prize is, I want you to do a home studio audit. So I want you to make a video, same thing in the group. Ideally, you do it live, but I want you to show us your area at home, even if it's just a corner that you haven't even done anything with. I want you to show us your home studio, what you're working with now, and then I want you to show us what you're committed to up-leveling. So could your lighting be a little better? Could you have Joao put in the chat that he bought a brand new laptop, but he doesn't have a laptop stand. So his laptop is on the desk, which means he's only at lens level, eye level when he's sitting. But if he's standing up, then he's way awkwardly above his lens and it just doesn't look right. So what does he need to invest in? He might need to invest in a laptop stand. Maybe it's a backdrop. Maybe it's a microphone. So your Audition Hero Day 2 challenge is to go into the group, do a video that shows us your home setup in your home area. We're going to take a peek inside your house. Show us the area. Show us your lighting on your phone. Might be challenging if you only have one device, but just do your best. Show us what you got, what you're working with, and then talk about what you think you're committed to up-leveling. Can you up-level your webcam? Can you up-level your lights? Can you get a laptop stand? Can you get a backdrop? Can you get a lav mic? Whatever it is that you think you might be able to do, and it doesn't have to be drastic. Just show us what you got and be incrementally better and commit to, you know what, I'm going to buy a new backdrop, or you know what, I don't have any space at home to do this and I'm always rearranging my entire house. I'm going to make a dedicated spot in a den or in a spare room or in a living room. You need a home studio. You are a media company. So that is your challenge. Go into the group, show us your home studio, and then we can also give feedback. We can give recommendations. I might say like, oh, move yourself away from that window, or try it on this wall, or maybe get rid of some of the clutter so it's not so busy. That is your challenge. Makes sense? Thumbs up in the chat. That all makes sense to you? Day 2 challenge. And same thing, we'll give you 24 hours for that. So you got till tomorrow night on Wednesday. And a little foreshadowing. So day 3, we in day 1, we talked all about the hero mindset. Today, we talked all about the hero system. And in day 3, we're going to talk a little bit more about systems. We're going to talk more so about how to build a community. We're also going to announce the Audition Hero 2022 winner from all of our members. You've seen the 3 finalists, Shaquille, Adam, and Jareen. We're going to crown one of those fantastic people as the 2022 Audition Hero. They're going to get the prize pack of the membership and the 10-pack of audition sessions. And a little birdie told me we're going to talk a little bit more about a huge opportunity to get involved with Actors Audition Club as we are expanding into new markets and we're growing our community. As an actor who needs help with auditions, either in studio or via Zoom, and as a person, as we're expanding into new markets and new cities, we want to have new studios, new boots on the ground. So in Actors Audition Club, we will be looking at our own internal members to be people who are helping run more sessions and helping run studio sessions in other cities where we aren't currently. So tomorrow, or not tomorrow, in day 3, which is Thursday, and we're going to bump the time back as well to accommodate all our Totterofians. Day 3 is, throw it up there again, Brandon, one more time. Day 3 is Thursday, February 3rd. You'll all get emails. As long as you've registered, you're going to get an email about this. Day 3 is Thursday, February 3rd. Brandon, I think we have a banner for it. Yeah. Day 3, Thursday, February 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to start a little later. If you're in a different time zone, that might mean you got to stay up a little late, or you might have to catch some of the replay. But we're going to start Thursday at 7:30. We're going to talk more about community. We're going to round this out, talk about everything that you need to up-level your audition life and submit killer auditions so that you can step into that dream role in 2022. So just final thoughts, pop off in the comments. This has been helpful for you. Any final questions, what you learned, what you liked, what you've enjoyed, what's resonated with you. But the final thought is I just want to reiterate our day 1 thought is 2022 needs to be the year that you step up into being the hero of your own life, not just in the acting world and on stage and on screen, but in your own life. There are such things as small roles. People get small roles. There are less lines, there are less money, there are less screen time. You get a smaller paycheck, you get a smaller trailer, your food's not as good, and you want to step up into those leading dream roles. And you want to be not a bit player, not a background player in your own life. So again, I want to reiterate, this is the year, I've gone blurry again. This is the year that you up level all of that. Throw out all those old stories that are holding you back. Throw out all those struggles and up level yourself into that hero mindset, the hero mentality, so that you can step into your dream role in 2022 and be the leading actor and leading performer that you know and dream of, that you know you can be. And again, here at Laughing Vikings Actors Audition Club, our mission is to uplift, inspire, and empower 1 billion people globally by helping 1,000 actors share their stories via TV, film, and live performances. And that's why we exist here at Laughing Vikings and Actors Audition Club. And you guys are a part of that today. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for being so wildly interactive in the chat. And we will see you again for day 3 of Audition Hero, Thursday, February 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Make sure to pop off in the group for your day 2 challenge. I love all of you. You're amazing. You're inspiring. And we're going to see you again real soon. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Goodbye. Goodbye.